It's Roll for Mischief time. Yo, 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 yo. It's another Tuesday afternoon, and we're going to go ahead and continue our story called Volohin Winds of War. I'm pretty sure I remember the name of the episode is Shifting Tides? Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
it.
I was like, I remember it
Shifting
this
Tides.
time,
I
so
remember it.
it's
No,
only taken the entirety of this episode.
yeah, I remember it. So we are going to see how quickly we can get Drew online. Realize that us here in the States had a time change and Drew did not, so our clocks are not in sync the way that they were. So, yeah, technical difficulties. It's the name of the game with Roll for Mischief. So,
As it turns out, though, typically recap and group therapy take us 20 minutes to half an hour, so we might as well jump into that.
jump right into that.
Get that going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have a hard time remembering exactly what happened the last time.
Everyone's gonna have a hard time.
Everyone's going to have a hard time remembering.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it was
like
a
a
little
month
while
ago.
Because of the fact that you are going on vacation next week, Kyle,
Yeah.
and we'll be missing. Is it just that session or 2 sessions?
Just that session. Should be back by the next day or so.
With how split up and choppy this stream has already been, I want to finish it today.
Hmm.
And I think we can. It is going to require me to trim down some stuff and really take the base essence of what's supposed to happen with this little mission and focus on that. So I want to say in all my my episode's probably going to be 6 sessions long rather than the usual 8. But it's already so fragmented. I had a hard time remembering what was happening. I'd ask.
No,
Josh
actually, we're normally 6 sessions long. 8 would have been like the longest by the longest. We're usually like closer to 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. Because I know I ran a 9 session one at some point. So, but that
Did
was our
you?
very
No,
our very
9?
first one. Yeah, it was 9 sessions.
No, 9.
No, it was 9 parts. That was 5 sessions.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah,
confusing.
It is. I forget that we split them in half.
Yeah.
No, this will be 4 sessions, which is 8 parts. Yeah, that's probably typical.
Yeah, is it? Okay.
Sure.
Because we are on session. I think session 1 was just the dream. Session 2 was figuring out the dream and breaking through it, and then session 3 has been getting out of the bureau, getting to this town, and sort of realizing that there's some shenanigans.
With all the with all the sessions that I have on my recordings, this is going to be the 6th one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Just saying.
Is that not considering the split?
Yeah, part 9. We already did part 9, so this will be part 10. The first half was the pickup from my Star Trek Adventures game. So
right.
So
this whole episode has just been really
fragmented, but
fragmented. Yeah.
but thematically, that totally fits with everything that's been happening in the episode. So don't even worry about it.
That's true. So maybe I won't sweat the getting it done today.
Whatever you feel, man. Whatever you feel.
I think we just found the roundabout way of saying we're just gonna keep on going until this episode is over.
Word. Make it natural. Make it organic.
So
so recapping, if we have any ability to do that, I mean, essentially, we had the whole illusion. We got out of the illusion, and then we had this whole bit of time where we were doing like some wrap-up stuff associated with the ISCB area, and then we got out of there. And where'd we go after that?
You went to a small town, and for the life of me, I don't know if I told you a name. I could have sworn I had. What's that?
St. John's? Was it?
Was it what now?
I legitimately don't remember.
Anyway, you're in a small logging town.
Small logging town.
You met some very rough people.
Some
racial
characters.
Prejudice was there.
Mm-hmm.
You came across a woman who runs the local inn, and she seemed very curious about outside world, about Theala, about elves, about just the adventures. Theala and her talked for a while. Um, Theala put the moves on her because that's what you do.
Yep. That's what she does when she's
Eigner,
upset.
yeah. Eigner. That's another thing is Theala has been actively avoiding Halifax as much as possible.
Yep.
Because the whole question of what's this reality of their relationship is coming into view, and it makes Theala very uncomfortable.
Yep.
So Halifax and Eridu were chilling at the tavern and got to know John a bit.
Eigner.
Egner? What did I say?
Eridu.
Yeah, they got to know John a little bit, and then you realized something was going on. Children were missing. John took you out into the woods to speak with you privately. Took you to a clearing with tree stumps that seemed reminiscent of the tree stumps that were in that were present in Agner's wedding reception. Then there was a talk about how John used to be part of the Bureau, and the Bureau is trying to get him, like, find him. He's been pretty active about keeping himself concealed because he's not using magic.
Yeah.
Or if he is, he's using very, like, magic he's set up a very long time ago, so it's not easily trackable.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that pretty much he wants you guys to find these missing kids because he doesn't like the fact that they're disappearing, but also because if he were to get involved, he'd have to use magic, and then everything he's been trying to do here would be for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
That's pretty much the recap. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Pretty much the recap. So I guess we'll do a little bit of group therapy, I suppose, and I'll go ahead and start with Eigner because Eigner has been on my mind as of late.
Good.
Eigner's going through like an interesting, just like a very emotional kind of transitionary period, and understandably has undergone a lot of trauma and a lot of shock from the experience of being tortured by Vincent Vachon. And essentially, one of the only things that got him through the whole experience, aside from the fact that all of his friends and party members were in on his hallucination and torture to some degree, aside from that, the only thing that's really kept him going was this connection to a very powerful, very mysterious force that takes the form of a spider. And for Eigner, he is interpreting this as being a deity, essentially. Like, he has not been in touch with anything divine for years and years and years, many years of his life. And this is his first experience of really feeling something akin to a divine connection again. So he's latched onto it, and he's trepidatious, but he's very like excited about what this connection can bring him. And he's very grateful because that connection was one of the only things that kept him going through the whole torture process. And he's trying to tune in to this powerful force, and he's trying to get some kind of communication going on, and he's trying to get some kind of an idea of what this deity has in mind for him. He wants to give back.
Okay.
All right. What's the Olaga going on?
Belle's in the opposite direction of Eigner right now. She's in closer to a downward spiral than like reaching for the heavens. She's her time in the dreams, if you will, was put her in an uncomfortable place because specifically because it was such a intimate place. It was already something that she was not used to, and then it was something that was kind of like ripped away from her. And so she doesn't really know how to cope with that information, and um, so she's kind of uh, because I don't remember how Halifax was responding. I don't know if he was responding to the same degree of emotional connection that she was. I don't think that he was. And so she basically has been avoiding them, and she, like we mentioned before, she's used her first opportunity to hit on the first, thing that she felt was attractive, which happened to be the daughter of the innkeeper who was, or the innkeeper daughter of the first innkeeper who was rude to her. But then that who she was hitting on was not aware that such a kind of relationship could exist. And so she was kind of like, she was aware, it's like, oh, this is a straight girl who's never had that kind of relationship, and so she was like trying to play it safe, trying to play it like smooth, so that way she didn't scare her off. But ultimately, nothing happened, which really kind of frustrated her. She's all sorts of like at this like, I mean, it's not quite rejection, obviously, but it's like, it's not rejected. She didn't get rejected, but at the same time, it feels like it to her. And so she's like all sorts of rejection, and now we have a mission, and so she's regressing even further back into soldier mode. So she's gone like, there's where she was, and just sneaking all the way back there. At some point, maybe she'll become petulant child Theala if it gets any worse. But yeah, I mean, that's where she's at right now.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Okay. We still don't have a Drew, so we can decide what your characters would like to do, or we could talk about it. We could start playing without him.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of right now, there's not a situation with which it'll be a problem for us to continue and for Drew to just, jump in whenever he can.
Right.
So,
all right. So yeah, you guys are in the woods with John Sonsgood, who has given you information about his time, not the information about, but has mentioned his time in the bureau, and has asked you to help save these children. Two of them. At first, you believed that they belonged. They were. What is her name? Clara's children. But you found out that Clara's actually a tutor, so she was tutoring them, and they vanished. It's something she does at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you're there now in this little grove with these chopped down stumps. It looks like a place where whatchamacallit, loggers have been felling trees.
For sure. I guess Eigner will ask.
You also are aware that you're standing in a zone of truth.
Oh yeah, for sure. All of
I forgot
us.
that. Yeah, I forgot that I had pointed out that he had casted that.
Yeah.
Or rather, that was like pre-casted in this area, and this little area holds that zone
Yeah.
of truth
Definitely.
as a ritual area.
So then I will ask John. Maybe it's a review of a question that Eigner already asked, but he'll say, John, are there any leads whatsoever? Any directions that we can start in? Any people that may know more information that we can question?
The people of this town have always been very superstitious. They believe the woods are alive, and
Hmm.
you might speak with them more because I don't play much into those hoaxes. It's likely that um, anybody who perpetuates rumors like that is using them towards their advantage. So if you look into the places where the woods are considered haunted or dangerous, those might be the first places to start.
I see. Hmm. Uh, there is a. Is there a town guard? Is there a guardhouse that, you know, some people of those nature?
There is a constable, and he can easily rally a few of the uh, bigger men to be a small militia. As for an active guard, no, not really. We're close enough to the road that the trail guard can come through and deal with any large problems, but the constable is probably a good place to start.
Sensible.
Yes. You are still blind, by the way.
I know.
Okay.
Should
Just
I
making
should I
note
have
of
my
that.
eyes closed the whole time?
Yes, you are required to.
Okay. This is kind of weird, but maybe I'll try it. I
No,
don't know.
don't do that.
No, this is like method acting, dude. This is like straight up.
All
Just,
right, hey man, if that's how you want to be.
uh,
You want to be that guy.
I'm gonna be that guy. Maybe not. But I did have this idea, like maybe Eigner would do this cool thing where he like gets like a white cloth and just puts it over his eyes, just like has a cool like it's almost like a headband, but it's covering his eyes and shit.
Yeah.
Like
He's like, I'm
some
tired of
cool.
people looking at me.
Yeah, no, it'd be like some blind samurai, cool looking shit, dude.
Ah.
Yeah. But anyways, so Egner will say something like, "Fiala, sounds like a plan. Are you up for this?"
Y'all actually stepped off to the side.
Oh,
She's. I am sitting like off to the side of the road and in a trance.
okay. Well, Egner probably didn't notice that, so he'll just like say that anyways, and then
Okay.
look around awkwardly or try and hear like,
And Halifax, for Theola's knowledge, is over kind of studying the outline of the Zone of Truth and the um, arcane runes that are making it up,
uh,
and divine runes that are making it up, since it is a divine spell.
sure. Well, John, I'm not exactly sure what my companions think about the situation, but you can count on us.
Uh, uh, you can kind of hear him shifting a little bit, and there's a hesitation in his voice, and he says, "Oh, like, I hope so. Your companions seem easily distractible."
We've all been through a lot recently. I don't wish to say much more about that, but it's been a hard road for us recently. We will do the best we can to do right by those kids.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Uh, did you need anything while you're in town?
Well, I've already had a stiff drink, and that was all I need, essentially.
All right then. Uh, you hear him start to walk away from you. His feet crunching through the dry leaves as he heads out of the clearing and away from you all.
Egner lets out a deep sigh, and he rests a hand on the pommel of Talon's blade, and he takes a sense of his surroundings, and he walks over to where he can feel Halifax stomping and probing around the runes, and he'll just take Halifax by the arm and say, "Plenty enough time for that later. Come on now."
Of course, you're right. Um, yes, to talk to townsfolk. Okay.
The constable first. The constable's probably going to have the best information for us. And
Yes, of course. That makes sense.
Halifax, I will remind you that I'm not entirely useless, but in situations I will need your eyes.
Of course. They are good eyes.
Damn right they are.
On would agree.
Damn right.
On would want to study them in great detail.
All right. Fiala, wherever you are, we're going to go to the constable.
I'm deep locked into the identify spell. I don't hear anything.
Okay. You want to tell me what you're doing?
What I'm basically doing is I want to, obviously not within the zone of truth spell, but what I'm looking for is I am casting identify as a ritual, or either in the surrounding area, or if you need a specific object like one of the stumps or a rock or fucking something. And I want to see if I can identify it with the specific purposes of seeing if it is some kind of illusion, or if it is a magically induced dream, or something that is out of place from reality.
How long does that ritual take?
It is I think it's a 10-minute spell plus, or it's one action, I think, plus 10-minute spell. Hold on, let me make sure.
Well, I mean, all rituals are 10
10
minutes
minutes
plus.
I just, let me double check the. Okay, so it's a 1 minute long spell. So it's
11 minutes to cast.
Huh?
It's 11 minutes to cast. It's 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's 11 minutes to cast. Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you say that you'd finish it up by the time that like before John actually like leaves out of your guys' eyesight. So
Okay.
looking at everything, you have a very firm sense that nothing here is magically inclined. I mean, obviously the area of where the circle of truth starts, you can feel that radiance of something being different, but that's different than like an illusion.
Right.
It's more just like this space of, as soon as a living thing moves into it, it's like this energy sort of attaches itself to them. As John leaves the zone of truth, though, you do distinctly get a sense about him that there is strong magic around him that makes him appear, that makes him seem, what am I trying to say? He doesn't seem to be what he appears to be, or he isn't what he seems to be.
Okay.
But aside from that, the rest of the world around you seems distinctly mundane.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if
I kind of
anybody
get
else
that.
has any magic items, but of course, if they do, you'd kind of pick up a bit of a resonance from that.
Well, that would be actually, hold on. That would be
Detect magic.
detect magic. Do I have detect magic?
I don't
That
know,
would
but
be more. Hold on. Let me see. I didn't think about that.
yeah.
Maybe that would be more appropriate. Do I have, if I have detect magic? I have dispel magic.
I was kind of allowing the identify to function a little bit like a detect magic spell.
Okay,
Since
let me
you
see if
weren't
Halifax has detect magic.
you weren't actively attempting to like take an object and figure out what it does. You're more just reaching out. So I was kind of giving you, like the zone of truth. You could pick it up as like it's the type of magic it is, but not
Right.
really what it's supposed to do directly.
Well, that's kind of what I was essentially doing, because even if I even if I don't, like, if I were to accidentally pick up, like by identifying, I'm kind of accidentally picking up that there is magic.
Right.
Even if I don't, like, I don't get a beacon. I don't get to go boop.
Yeah.
Boop. It's just okay. It's a 1 second ping.
I was essentially letting you understand, okay, there is magic around, and this is the type of magic it is, rather than this is exactly what a specific thing does. So, you've picked up,
yeah.
you definitely picked up that, and whatever enchantments are around John, they are illusory.
Okay. Okay. So I will. That's it. Yeah. So I'll get up, and I don't know at what point. I guess if they talk and they're saying that they're going to head out, then I will follow.
Yeah.
Like 10 feet behind.
It seems that they are doing that, and Halifax is guiding Eigner.
So yeah, I'll do that, and I'll keep an eye out on the area. Like 10. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna draw back even more. I'm gonna go 20 feet behind, so that way I can see if there's anything kind of coming up or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. You guys make it into town without any real interruptions, anything like that. And I'm guessing you're just going to go straight to the constable.
Whatever they decide to do.
Straight to the constable.
All right. How good is Halifax at navigating? I really don't know.
His survival is a +6. Yeah, his survival is a +6.
Look, I mean, Eigner's not too embarrassed to ask the random passerby.
13
me,
+6.
Where
so
is the constable's place?
Okay.
19 total.
Yeah. Halifax is like leading you through town. He seems like he is pretty firm on where he's going.
Yeah.
But you hear the footsteps of someone pass by, and you call out to him and ask for directions. And a gruff man's voice says, "And what would you be wanting with the constable?"
Merely some information. I would hate to trouble you with our concerns. That our concerns are merely for the constable.
Well, strangers bring their concerns into our town and make them all of our concerns. He spits on the ground and says, "But if you want the constable's office, keep on down this road. It's one of the last houses last buildings before the end of town."
You've been very helpful, thank you.
Yeah. He walks off mumbling about strangers coming into town asking questions.
I'm going to go ahead and... hold on.
I'm holding on.
That is a 16 to stealth to kind of blend into the crowd.
There's not really much of a crowd. There's just a couple of people here and there. It's not a large town. It doesn't even really have, like, the roads are dirt, you know.
Gotcha.
It's a logging community.
You never know. Someplace, I mean, like, just depending, especially on the time of day.
That's true. And it's... What time of day is it? Oh, it's been a while. Was it evening?
It was like evening, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys came into town and found some rooms and spent some hours just kind of hanging out.
Very true, very
Okay.
true.
Yeah, you make your way to the building that the man had brought up, and a squat dwarf is sitting on a chair with his back against the wall. Eigner, you could hear it from a few houses down, the very loud snoring of someone that sounds like they probably have some sort of sinus infection. And he just reeks of sweat and pine tree.
Hmm.
And as you walk up, Halifax greets him very loudly, and the dwarf snorts awake. Yeah, what do you all? What do you want?
Uh, so I'm able to hear very clearly that this is a dwarf. I'm just gonna make that kind of assumption because I've got super hearing, dog, and also I speak dwarvish. So I can
Right.
like tell the accent and whatnot.
You don't
Yeah.
need super hearing to hear a dwarven
Well,
accent.
also that, but I do have super hearing. So I will say, good Sir Dwarf. We were hoping to speak to the constable if he is available.
Aye, that'd be me.
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Eigner Bosch. This is my companion Hilofax and Theala. Companions Hilofax and Theala.
You're all a strange bunch out
Eh,
here.
Trust me, we get that a lot, and we're used to it.
Oh, all right then.
Uh,
What can I do for you?
we were hoping to get some information. We have heard a very troubling rumor about some missing children, and
Oh, these rumors again. Yeah. Go ahead. Tell me what you've been hearing.
we've been hearing that children have been going missing. Even as recent as tonight, there has been a disappearance, and
Oh,
we've developed a rapport with some people that are directly involved in this situation, and we really would like to help them if we can. If you know of absolutely any information, any possible direction outside of town that has been suspicious, if there's any other people that we can talk to, ask questions.
oh, are you implying something? These kids are going off in the woods and messing around with things they shouldn't be messing with?
I am not making any kind of assumptions. I'm merely asking if you have any information.
Oh, well, because those were my assumptions.
Oh,
Kids, they like to hear stories of scary places and go and test them. Even when we tell them, you don't do that. They don't listen. Young fools. All right, so I haven't heard anything of any missing children. This is new to me, at least today. I guess I'll have to take a report. Um, who's gone missing? Who'd you talk to? He
the
is like you can hear him shuffling around. He's looking for some kind of writing implement. He's got a grubby sheet of paper in his hand.
this guy is obviously very good at his job.
Oh yeah,
Very obviously very good.
and
Especially
there's a
doing the
reason why he
paperwork.
has found every missing child up to this point.
Well, our point of contact was the innkeep, or not the innkeep. The what am I going to call him? Tavern master, right?
Yeah.
John sounds good.
Oh yeah. Strange bloke.
He's yeah, he's a fellow of his very own kind.
Yep, huh? Yep.
Yeah, I'm afraid we wouldn't have any particular information about the missing um, children. We were hoping that you would have some kind of. Can you tell me a little more about those warnings that you were giving to children, saying that they shouldn't go here or there? Is there a specific area where you've been warning people to stay away from?
Well, you don't go into the woods at night. That's just everybody knows that. When you spend enough time deep in the woods logging, you know these woods, these forests, they protect themselves. There's a reason why, and you can hear him kind of licking something. He's found a writing utensil and is licking the tip of it, and he starts kind of scrawling down uh, something on this piece of paper. There's a reason why the the Dwarven Empire never actually cuts down any woods. They built things with stone for very practical purposes. But anyway, yeah, the forests are guarded by all manner of spirits. Some places are dangerous, more dangerous than others. There's the thicket around here. It's about a mile and a half out of town to the east, and we stay clear of that. That's where the woods get thick and dense. There's just too much underbrush to really get to any trees, and there's just no good logging out there. That's the place everyone avoids at all times, regardless of the reason, except for those kids. They like to go out there, run amok, smash things up, doing their crazy parties and whatnot, and sometimes they don't come back.
Kids will be kids, that is sure. But so you have not heard of any information whatsoever about any abductions happening within the bounds of the city.
Abductions in the city. I mean, some people they come to me and they say, "Hey, my daughter went missing," and I'm like, "Well, you told her to stay out of the thickets, didn't you?" And well, no, yeah, of course I say that, but she didn't go out there. But I mean, what do parents know? Kids get up in the middle of the night, they sneak off, they go out and they do crazy things with their friends. Just another case of kids being kids. They all come to me. They want me to solve the problem. Like that's my job.
I'm not in any position to tell you what may or may not be your job, sir. But what I can say is that you've been very, very helpful. Um,
Oh yeah, well, good. I'm glad. A lot of people like to tell me what my job is, and they always tell me, Braden, you should really get out there and look for them kids. You should really find out what's been going on. And me, I know. They went to the thickets. They got themselves ate by something. There's no point looking out there. I'm just gonna find myself some gruesome scene that's gonna scar me and them kids' parents for life. I'd rather just avoid that entirely.
fair, fair.
So sounds good. He's the one who gave you this information. Maybe I should go and have a word with him and see what's happening. But it's the same story as before. Just kids running off into the woods.
Yes, I mean we're gonna go follow up a couple more leads right now, but of course, if anything develops, I'll let you know.
Oh, please. Anything to help this investigation. It's just I don't want to find those gruesome scenes and then kids ripped limb from limb. I don't want to see that. But if you find them, you just let me know and I can tell them parents and they can keep off me about solving their problems.
Certainly. All right. We'll talk to you later. And then Eigner will just very awkwardly walk away.
Halifax kind of leading him. That man was very bad at his job.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me that, Halifax. So what I think is odd is that if these abductions were happening within the bounds of the city, there would be more. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something is really fishy here. We need to go back and talk to Clara.
Oh, of course. If that's what you think is best.
I think that's what's best. We need a little more information.
Should we perhaps split up our investigation and maybe I go speak with John or check the place where the kids went missing?
I'll check the thickets. If there's anyone that can handle a little bit of woods, and I snap and I use prestidigitation to kind of spark a flare, it would be me.
Well, Theala, are you sure that's wise? I mean, what if it is dangerous? Shouldn't we all go there together?
If I feel like it becomes too much, I'll head back. I will sneak around. I won't tromp. Unlike some people, I don't tromp around.
Yes, Halifax, I hate to break this to you, but if Fiala is in a position where she has all of her resources available to her, she's probably a lot more capable than you and I combined.
That's true.
Drop me a couple fireballs and then
Yeah,
teleport the fuck out of there.
Halifax
Actually, can't teleport, but still.
kind of gives Theala a shy look and under just barely audible. He just try not to burn the forest down for your own safety.
I make no promises, and then I walk away.
All right.
But
Well,
as I gave a stink eye to the constable, what did I get out of him, or did I roll too low to get anything out of him?
Oh, he's sat back in his chair with his head back and that piece of paper draped over his eyes.
No, I rolled an 11 inside. I put it in chat.
Oh, I did not see that. Oh, an insight on him. Okay. For what intention? To see if he's maybe lying
He's
about
lying.
anything? Or...
Yeah, like to see like if he.
You know, he just
He knows
stinks of incompetence, and
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to. It's so pervasive that there doesn't seem to be any other explanation.
Gotcha. Okay, that's
for
fine.
sure.
Just seemed it just seemed a little too incompetent, but perhaps.
No, that's just Asa
With
for
an
you.
with an insight of 11,
Yeah.
that picking up that incompetence is what you get.
Yeah.
So
No, I know it's not a high roll. That's why I was like, okay, like
So
from the perspective of Theala, she's like,
Oh yeah, no, I totally get
Yeah.
it. That's actually a very perceptive thing, both as a player and as a character to be aware of.
Yeah.
for sure. So with Fiala off on her thing, Eigner will say to Halifax, "Yes, Halifax, I think it would be best if you went and talked to John. And again, Halifax, I urge you to use caution with your magical abilities, but at the same time, we must get to the truth of this."
I wonder. John had mentioned a thing about not wanting to use his magic because people would be able to find him. If I use magic here, is that going to call other people to our location? Are people tracking us?
I don't think we're powerful enough. Actually, I do want. I'm sorry. I do want. Just wanted to rewind. Did we want to do a long rest? But like, because it's at night. Like I don't want to hit exhaustion. Should we go to like kind of rewind a little bit? Should we go to sleep?
Well, yeah, that might be for the best.
Because the kids probably aren't going to die overnight. And
Well, I hope
like,
not.
I don't want to become exhausted and end up being more of a detriment than a help.
Sure. No,
But
I
if
can
they
dig
do
that.
die overnight,
Then that sucks, but that's on them.
that's all the kids.
I mean,
that
but
got themselves kidnapped.
I mean,
regret. I'm at soldier mode right. No.
well, I mean, we also got to keep in mind that we don't even know where we're going yet. We need
Right.
more information before we can figure something out, and we need a little bit more time and maybe a little rest to figure out.
So
what the
yeah,
fuck's
then
going
in that
on.
case, I'm going to rewind a little bit and say that if it's okay with you, DM, that I'm going to go. That I said that I'm going to go to bed and go in the morning to the thickets.
Okay.
So that way, I'm not burning and I'm not exhausted.
Yeah, so in that case, all three of our characters are going to head back to the inn and try and get some accommodations secured once again.
Oh no, accommodations are secured.
Oh, they already are.
Yeah, he
Okay.
secured them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we're good to go.
Secured and paid for, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you pay for them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna blow my nose.
For sure. And we are staying at the inn where Clara is, so that's handy.
Correct. We are staying at the inn where Clara is.
Super handy, dude.
Yeah. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was gonna look up. I wanted to see The effects of exhaustion. Conditions. Exhaustion.
Don't get exhausted.
Yeah, disadvantage on ability checks. If I'm doing survival and perception checks, the last thing I want is disadvantage on ability checks.
Don't.
I'm not gonna lie. I
Get
think the first stage of
exhausted now.
exhaustion is really harsh. I would like to use it more often, but
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're doing, it can be super harsh or like not even a big deal. Where I'm going, it would possibly kill me.
it's disadvantage on skill checks and attack rolls, right?
Nope, just ability checks.
Oh, is it just ability checks? Okay,
Yeah.
'cause I thought it was the full rounded like. Oh, man,
Third
wow.
level is disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws.
Yeah, it should be like I would probably start it with disadvantage on saving throws, or disadvantage on like a very specific ability checks, like physical ability checks, that kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
I just think of, like, 'cause I just feel like it's a really harsh start. But you're right. In some cases, it could be entirely pointless if it's a combat heavy game. But
Well, or just a combat heavy like moment, but like I'm going to be doing survival and perception.
and as a
stealth. I do-
DM, I don't normally throw really combat heavy games, so I
Yeah.
think about that as like this is a huge detriment to my players. Where are my dice at? Oh,
Yeah.
No.
So for me doing what I'm doing, exhaustion is gonna hurt, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't always.
true dat. If you're in chat and you're curious about exhaustion, tell us what you think. Is it too harsh? Is it pointless? Should
I
I
don't know,
make my players
it-
take more exhaustion stuff?
I think ability checks is fine for the first level.
Yeah. I'm also the kind of player who really likes my ability checks, so I don't like losing anything on that.
Oh,
I
I
actually,
mean, I'm a
I
rogue,
actually, as a player, like ability checks more than attack rolls.
right? I mean, I'm a rogue by nature, so ability checks are like half of what I do.
Right.
So, but
All right.
at the same time,
So, how are the rooms situated?
I'm gonna long rest both hill effects and myself.
Yeah. But how are the rooms set up?
One room apiece. I was not gonna fucking sleep in the same room as either one of those people.
Hell nah.
Okay.
Hell nah.
All right, one room apiece. So as you guys lay down, I mean, it's not a big deal for you, Theala, since actual sleep isn't something you require, but it doesn't find you tonight. You lay in bed and just you're in that meditative half coherent trance state, but
Right.
it's in a very insomniac kind of way where you just never really get rest, or never really get to sleep.
Well, it's not actual sleep. It's just
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is because if you were a human, like, you wouldn't have slept and you would have taken a level of exhaustion because you are an elf.
Yeah.
You do get that like half coherent stage, but your mind is reeling and spinning and turning, and you never actually get to a
And
physical
I can
sleep.
transfer 8 hours if necessary to give myself that like extra to.
No, it's fine. You still get your rest. You can hear in the next room Eigner just tossing and turning in his sleep. As Eigner, you are just you're dipping into the same nightmare over and over again. In that repeating way where you like kind of wake up and then fall asleep and then the dream starts up again, but it's a little bit different each time. It starts with your wedding, and that didn't actually happen. And then you're remembering giving your vows and turning into the spider creatures you called out to your god, and then you wake up in a cold sweat and then kind of doze back off again. And the wedding is there again, and now instead of marrying Ethel, you are marrying a giant spider. And wake up, and as you doze off, the spider, it transforms into Zarkon, and grabs you by the throat and lifts you into the sky, and just breathes fire all over you. and then you dip into sleep again and wake up, and you're standing, in the grove in the wedding, but the sky is red and there's a shadowy creature moving amongst it, and the trees are all on fire, and the corpses of the druids litter the ground around you, and then you wake up again and doze back into sleep, and now your grove is complete in complete blackness. Um, there's a stone sky overhead as though you're inside of a cave, but it's still your home. And the bodies uh, of Eridu and On and Alton are laying before you, and a large creature is moving along the outskirts of the shadows in a way that you can't make out, but you can hear it and see its form moving, and it's saying, "Don't forget the promise you made. You will fulfill your end of the bargain." And that's when you wake for the final time. What you gonna do?
Eigner Eigner will let out a very just big groan, just like as if. I mean, I'm also gonna go along with he's got a splitting headache, just like an absolute just fucked up migraine. So he just groans and groans and reaches for his water skin and gets the last bit of water out of there. Tries to snap out of it, and then what he ends up doing is that he takes the the blanket off of the bed, and he kind of squares it up a little bit, folds it this way, folds it that way, puts it down on the wooden floor, and he rests his knees on the blanket and gets into a straight backed position and just holds his head up toward the sky like this and tries to call out to the spider deity and he essentially just starts praying silently, and he starts to look for some kind of advice, some kind of communication. It's like, come on, did you give me these dreams? And if you gave me these dreams, what the hell are you trying to say? Or is this just, leftover trauma from being with Vincent, like essentially Egner's like feeling like he is about to mentally just go off the rails, but he's still got this kind of like awareness about it where he's like, "Come on, really? Do I have to go crazy? Come on, really?"
Roll me a religion check.
Okay. Ba ba ba. It's
Ba, ba,
not
ba, ba,
it's not
religion.
very good. Ba ba ba.
What is those of you who have encyclopedic knowledge of names or spell names? What's the name of the spell that allows you to communicate with your gods? Is it?
No, that's
There's a handful of them.
I think that's a cleric
There-
ability.
There's a
Oh, I
handful
mean,
of
there's
those
like a
things.
high level one that allows you to like directly contact them. I'm trying to
Okay, give
remember.
me. I do not have that off the top of my head.
I only have an 11, so whatever you're trying to do, I probably didn't do it.
It's all good. So you actually start to hear um, the little light clicking of something on the wood, and actually could kind of hear this rustling, almost like a sound of moving water, but it's a little bit different than that. And then you feel little things start brushing against your leg, and crawling up across your fingers, and then something. You actually hearing this distinct like click click, almost like the sound of dog nails on a floor,
Hmm.
but much fainter. And then something heavy drops right in front of you, and you hear a voice in your head that says, "You shouldn't be looking to the skies for or with your prayers, but to all the dark corners of the world. That is where I reside."
I cannot see those corners anymore, but I can feel it. Is that your blessing too?
None can see the corners. That is why we hide there, and my blessing can always be found for those who look. And before you can respond, there's a knock on your door,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever it was that was sitting in front of you gets up and scurries away really fast.
I will not be so bothered by the intrusion necessarily. I'll simply stand up from my blanket and I'll say, "Come in."
The door creeps open, and the you have sort of picked up the scent and the footfalls of this person, and recognize Halifax as he enters the room.
How can I help you, Halifax?
Well, it's a little bit of an emergency, actually. Um, I went to go speak with John because I just couldn't get very much sleep, and it seems that someone has burnt down his establishment.
Oh dear. Oh, Halifax. What have we walked into here?
I do not know, but it might be bigger than we think. There might be more involved in this than just some children disappearing.
God's damn it all. All right, Eigner will go around and start feeling his way around and get oriented with where all of his stuff is located, and essentially he's just gonna pack up. Just gonna pack up as fast as he can and get his armor on, get his sword on, and he'll just be kind of muttering to Halifax the whole time, and he's saying like, okay, I'm not sure where Theala is, blah blah blah, but I mean, obviously you and me have to go check this out, and whatever we find out is whatever we find out, and then we just have to go with it. Okay.
Yep. And Theala, you could hear when Egner woke. You couldn't really hear what he was praying, but you definitely heard Theala's knock or Halifax's knock. You hear the two of them in the room talking. Exactly what they're talking about is still kind of muffled by the wall, but you can definitely make out their voices. Then you can kind of hear the sounds of rustling and moving around in the room as Egner is getting ready to go.
Because it takes me a whole lot less time to don my armor, I do so, and I just slip by.
Okay.
And then I head towards the thicket, I'll ask someone random, like I'll ask someone for directions to it along the way, but I'll just head out to the thicket.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to catch a dreary-eyed young man who's like carrying an axe over his shoulder and seems to be heading out of the village, and he just it's that way. Just stay on the trail for a little bit until you find the smaller paths that lead off. Then he kind of points you in the direction, and then kind of gives you a look and says, "Why would you want to go to the thicket? That place is dangerous."
I'm going to say, never you mind, and then I'm going to say, what direction are you headed in?
I'm going out to the cutting grounds.
Is that like in the same direction? I mean, player asking, is that in the same direction-ish?
No, it's towards the way that it's towards the direction that what's his name? John took you guys when he went to.
Okay, so it's like kind of basically in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, and yeah, I'll explain that as you go.
Is he just muscly, or is he also cute?
He's young and kind of lanky and awkward in a very prepubescent way.
Okay. I head out to the thickets.
Okay. As you heading in that direction, first off, I'd like you to roll me a nature check, and then if you're gonna stealth, a stealth check.
Okay. Nature is... Yes, I'm gonna stealth.
Okay.
Nature is 13.
Okay.
And stealth is nat 20.
Okay.
plus plus 9, so 29.
Okay. You notice on the way in the direction that he kind of said, you head down the main path out of the town in the opposite direction that a lot of the workers were going, and you find, about a mile off, you find these smaller branching paths, um, and they all kind of go off in the same direction, but it looks like different people have made different paths in their own way.
Right.
But this part of the forest has been left alone. The further on this path you go, the thicker it gets.
Right.
And it seems like the loggers have specifically avoided cutting down the trees in this area. I was reading the Trivio comments. Okay, and so you make your way quietly into the brush, into the side paths, to travel for another half a mile. What is your passive perception?
My passive is currently 14 at level 12. I will increase that.
You start noticing where the paths thin out and actually kind of start to converge and meet. But there's just more and more underbrush that makes it harder to really move through without unsettling the bushes. And as you're looking around, you start to notice that some of these trees have things like carvings in them. You can't really make out what they are from the distance. Yeah, they have something carved into them. And they're periodically here or there. There's a tree with a carving and a tree with a carving, but like a lot of those trees are so full of underbrush, there's no sign of anybody having got up there. And they would have had to climb onto the tree a good, like, probably 10 to 15 feet in order to get that carving there.
Right.
Ooh. Hey, it's a Drew.
Yep.
Hello. How is everyone?
It
Doing
is
great, man.
still burning.
It is still burning. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
But we were on Theola. Sorry, I was just answering a question.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Yep.
I'll jump in when ready. In fact, I can chat with Kyle in the chat to catch up on stuff.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That sounds like a wonderful use of time.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm fucking stealthy as shit right now. I'm one away from being impossible to find, so I'll continue on.
Okay. Yeah, you continue on through the woods and roll me another perception check.
Oh, an actual perception check?
Yeah, this time
Yeah.
have you roll it for me.
16 this time.
Okay. You notice it just before you step on it. There is a root coming up out of the earth across this part of the path, and that root also has carved into it one of these symbols.
Go ahead and investigate that.
Okay, yeah, give me the roll.
Fucking Jesus. I'm rolling like dick right now. 12.
Okay. You definitely recognize it as as an arcane symbol. You're not quite able to link right now, like, with what kind of spell this might be.
Right.
But being aware of its presence, you aptly, like, step over the root, not actually touching the symbol itself. Because it's become apparent to you that this symbol's probably going to activate something that you don't want to deal with right now.
Okay. Then yeah, for sure. I guess as I make more perceptions, then I will be on the lookout specifically for that.
Okay. Yeah, and as you kind of move further into the thicket, you do hear the sound of people moving around in the brush, a distance off, and you find a place where the the underbrush hasn't been entirely cleared away. I would like you to. Well, I'll explain this and I'll let you decide what you're gonna do. It's been entirely cleared away, and not in a way that anyone could have done with their hands. It's like someone cast a spell that just removed all that plant life, and the ground is flat in this area, and it's a good solid probably 100-foot radius, enough for these people to have built up a few tents. And you can see a small fire burning in the center that's not putting off any smoke at all. It is actually a bluish green color.
Okay.
There's a couple of robed figures, in this campsite, sitting around the fire and talking with each other.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hold on. Go ahead and cast. Ugh, I really hate burning one like this, but I think it's the best choice. A greater invisibility.
Okay.
And sneaky with my 29 until you no longer let me use that.
I was gonna have you reroll that one for this. Yeah.
Okay. Jesus.
That is what people call me sometimes.
12.
Okay. You are invisible and have a stealth check of 12. We will get right back to that in a minute. Kyle and Drew, are we all caught up?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Pretty much, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
You two were in the hotel room, and Halifax, you just let Eigner know that you went to go speak with John, and his tavern was on fire. That was burned down, but I mean, it's still burning. Hold on a second. Van drove by, and my dogs are all barking at it.
Silly dogs.
Yep. So what are you guys gonna do?
Well, essentially, we're going to get to that tavern as quickly as we can and check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys bother checking in on Theala?
Well,
Because you'd find out she's gone. So.
for sure. Well, I'm sure that would only have taken a second, and we would have found that out.
Yeah, you open up her door. She's gone. She's left explosive runes all over her room, though. They blow up. Now you're both dead.
Yay!
I just figured, I would tell you what you'd find, and then see if you fell for it, and you did.
Figures.
Gullible players.
Game
Okay,
over.
So yeah, you find out pretty quickly. Theala is already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So.
Well, what I think Eigner and I would like to do is head straight for the tavern. But along the way, I would like to see if I can spot any firefighting equipment, like a town well, bags of sand, anything along those lines. The other thing is I would like to look up to the skies and compliment whatever deity might be up there for his awesome screen name of Master of All Dungeons.
The master of all of them.
For that flattery, the Master of All Dungeons has gifted you with inspiration.
Nice.
Something that I have
Nice.
literally never given out in this game.
Well, I think giving it out in that way is okay.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
All right. You look up to the sky and just feel like, you know what? The next endeavor that I set out to do, I will succeed at with flying colors.
Awesome.
Well, that's good.
And you make it to the tavern that is currently aflame. It's not like full on raging fire. It's like burn, like smoldering. Smoldering? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. True, will you roll me a perception check as you're running to see what you pick up?
Where
Visually pick up.
where is
I
his
brought
dice?
dice, right? I brought dice. This is D&D. I brought dice.
I
Yes, I
forgot
did.
mine.
There you
Yes, I
go.
did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Sorry, what was the roll for?
Perception.
Perception. So that's an 11 total.
Okay. Yeah, you
We've
were
all
running
rolled 11.
and you. The only thing you think of that seems fitting is maybe like a large blanket that, uh, as it happens, was on Agner's bed.
I'll grab the large blanket, but when we get to the tavern, if I see that it is these small flames here and there, that is basically nothing greater than like a campfire or anything.
Oh yeah, and I actually really screwed up the description when Theala left because it wouldn't just quietly be a bunch of people or like one person wandering off to work while a building is burning.
Plot hole.
Yep.
Plot hole.
But we'll just say that she went in the opposite direction, and that person didn't really seem to be paying attention.
Or yeah, on the opposite side
I
of
mean,
town.
this is literally across the street. So
Okay. So it's not a plot hole. It just hasn't been explained yet.
yeah, Theala was already aware the building was burning and had other things on her mind.
She just
And
doesn't
Or didn't
care.
doesn't-
She
exactly.
just doesn't care.
Doesn't
And-
care is
And clearly, the young man that she came into contact with was too sleepy to have noticed there was a building that was on fire.
or he was distracted by a hot girl.
That too. Those things both happened.
But I would permit me, if you will. I would like to step out into the middle of the street opposite this burning tavern, raise my staff, and slam it into the ground while casting Gust of Wind, a spell that says the gust disperses gas or vapor, and it extinguishes candles, torches, and similar unprotected flames in the area.
Okay. Well,
And it's a 60 feet long,
Cone.
10-foot wide blast. It's a line.
yeah. As you make it out to the street, there are a few people standing around the fire. Some of them are holding empty sacks. Some with like large axes, as though they had came out to attempt to put the flames out, but didn't get too much done and seemed to have just kind of given up and let it burn. You come out and pull your best Gandalf impression and send that gust of wind over the fire, what's left of it, and the coals burn brighter as the wind hits them, and but all the flames that are contained in that area just snuff out, and you're just left with these hot coals that make up the remnants of the building, and what's left of it just collapses in on itself. The building itself is gone beyond repair.
Well, there goes the idea of like rescuing anyone who's in there, I guess.
We could be in luck, Eigner. Someone could be crushed within.
Well, in that case, I guess that's reason enough for Eigner to try and still give some kind of rescue operation a try. So
Okay.
what he's gonna do is that he's going to go up to the foundation of the whole thing where all the coals are, and he's gonna pull out Talon's blade, and he's gonna stab it into the ground and activate its power to hallow the whole area, essentially. So 60 feet or like from him, essentially, in every direction, and he'll just give this like blanket bonus to everyone. He does the energy protection option. So everyone within 60 feet of him, no matter who they gain resistance to fire damage while in this area.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When you do that, you hear a vaguely familiar voice just, like I said, strangers come into this town and want to bring their problems here too. And the Halifax would recognize the guy that Eigner had asked for directions from the previous evening as he turns and walks away from the scene. Uh, yeah, and everyone has got protection from energy, from fire.
Yeah. And with
I've got to go check on these dogs. They keep barking and stuff. Hold on a second. Sorry.
for sure.
That's fine. Eigner, it appears that despite our efforts, we have not yet won this town over.
It's a tough crowd, Halifax. It really has been the whole time. I'll be glad when we'll be leaving this place, but for right now, I want to try and do some good.
Well, it certainly is in a sorry state right now. I realize that it's hard for you to see, but the building's collapsed.
Yes, I intend on trying to get in there.
Well, thankfully you've made us all hardier against the effects of the heat that surely will still be residual in the timbers of this building. It shall aid the rescue efforts. I wonder how Theala is doing.
I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure.
With her 12 stealth check while invisible.
There was a really funny moment earlier when you had not jumped on yet, and Asa was doing a little bit of quips here and there, role playing as Halifax, and he essentially said something to Theala where he's like, "Are you going to be safe all by yourself?" And and Eigner looks at Halifax and says, "I hate to break it to you, but if Theala's like fully locked and loaded, she's more capable than both you and I combined."
To be fair, he did say, "We think it might be dangerous. We probably should all go together."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was
He
paraphrasing.
worded it in a way that didn't question Theala's capabilities.
For sure.
No, I don't know. That's not the impression that I got.
Well, okay.
The impression that I definitely was on, I was with Kyle there. It was definitely like an impression of, you can't handle yourself. And
No. I'm just saying how he worded it. I'm not saying how it was taken, and I'm not even saying how he meant it. Just how he worded it.
Word. Okay, so Asa essentially with Eigner having done that and granting the fire resistance, he's just going to start immediately trying to go into the smoldering ruins, and he's going to take his shield and he's going to be bashing timbers out of the way. He's just going to wade through there and really I don't know, see if he can find, at the best he's expecting to find corpses right now, but even that will be worth it,
In fact, I'm going to aid those efforts by summoning Tobias and warging into Tobias, using his senses and getting a literal bird's eye view
There you go.
of it, and to sort of help see if there's anything shifting or anything like that. Help lead Eigner around.
Yeah. One thing that Halifax noticed, just out of the corner of his periphery, was that the oh-so-helpful constable was amongst the people staring at the burning building. And he did not seem to be doing the thing that constables would be doing, which is A, leading the effort to try to do something about this, or B, questioning the people around. He just seemed to be taking in the whole burning building with a disinterest. But you noticed no sense of surprise before he turned and started walking back down the street again.
Motherfucker. He did it, dude. I don't know. I told him about John, and it was a bad idea. I don't know. It was all my fault. I don't know. That's blabbing too much about player stuff, but
I think. See, sometimes I regret the on decision because on would probably just like even if he was holding up something really heavy, it would just be like, oh look, and let it go and follow the constable.
Right.
But I think Halifax is a bit more careful and reserved. He's going to note that and think, I'll be able to find the constable later. He's either going to scarper and not be an issue anymore, or be the constable, and we can track him down and question him later. Let's stay, help with the rescue effort. But I'm remembering that one.
Okay.
In fact, something I've not done in sessions and sessions is take notes in D&D Beyond. I'm going to take a note in D&D Beyond.
Do it.
Wait, where can you do that?
There's a section called Notes.
Oh.
Where you've got like actions, spells, equipment, features and traits, description. There's
It's right
notes.
there.
Like for on, I took loads of notes and I actually copied and pasted all my on notes into this one because I didn't want to lose them and forget them.
For sure. Well, that's pretty sick, dude. That's pretty sick.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you guys are searching through the body of the building. So, Eigner needs to make me a roll with advantage because Halifax is assisting. So roll me an investigation check. Yeah, we'll do that.
Investigations. Well, the advantage really helps. I'll say that. Well, I rolled 2 5s. How about that?
Okay.
Miserable, dude. None of us have rolled well today.
Yeah, this is fucking.
Not
None
at
of
all.
us.
Well,
no one
to be
has
fair,
rolled well.
Josh had some good stealth checks earlier.
Well, okay, I
I did
wasn't.
one
I
good
wasn't
stealth check.
hearing those.
Everything else has been dick.
Dick.
So-
absolute garbage.
After you do the hollow, a few of the villagers, seeing what you're doing and not feeling the heat of the flames as badly, come in and start helping out. And at first, you've got probably 5 people, including yourself, plus the 2 of you, kind of coming through and pulling some of the rubble out. But after it takes longer than people, takes a while, and you guys don't really find anything, and people start getting blisters on their hands from the heat, even though they have the resistance, it still is burning.
Yeah.
They just turn and give up, and the 2 of you end up spending, probably a good. Well, let's see how many dice I'm gonna roll. Yeah, you guys spend a good 10 minutes just shifting through the sand, or not the sand, the fire. And in that process, you take.
I'll take all the damage I need to. I don't
In that
care.
process, you guys both take 12 fire damage. I've already halved it, so
Okay.
12 damage in that 10-minute period of time.
Well,
And you don't find any bodies, but what you do find is that the tap room, not the tap room, but the place where we kept the kegs, the free
yeah.
that area where there was the coolest part of the kegs that had been magically cooled. It still has burnt, but a lot less than the rest of it. That part of the building is still kind of standing, and you clear some rubble away and find that in that room there is a hatch that leads. It's closed right now, but it's just a hatch in that room that appears to have been. Rubble has landed on it, but it itself has not burned any more than the wood charring a little bit.
I'm gonna say maybe Halifax would be the one to really see that. Eigner is he's not gonna be able to see or feel that enough to put that together.
To make it, more noticeable than the rubble
Yeah.
you're already feeling through.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, so if Halifax feels like calling that out to Eigner,
In fact, I will. I'll call out things as like a general narration while I'm seeing things. I'll be like, entrance antechamber, nobody's found. Tap room, nobody's found. So when we get to this bit, back with the barrels, I'll say, Eigner, There's a trap door, I think, underneath some of that rubble. A little to your right.
Huh. And Eigner, as he reaches down, he will also start to get the weird. He'll get the sense that it is cooler over here. That it's not as hot. And he'll follow that sensation to help guide him. He's gonna like reach for wherever it's cooler. Eventually, he'll find the hatch. He'll get both hands on it, and he'll give it a shot.
All right. I would like you to give me a strength check.
Alright. Hopefully I can roll something good, yo. Yeah, finally. 17.
All right.
Just like athletics or just straight strength?
I'll just do straight strength.
That's going to be a 19 total.
You grab it and you pull, and it gives you. It doesn't give up at first, but after another good hefty like straining on your muscles and yank, that the wood that has like kind of expanded from the heat. No, it does the other thing, doesn't it? Yeah, that's right. It goes in from the heat. So the latch that is sort of stuck in place snaps, and then the door just pulls up real fast.
Whoa! Alright. Hilofax, I'll need your eyes. I don't know what I'm getting myself into here.
I'll call Tobias back to my shoulder, get back control of my own body, and I shall pick my way through the rubble to get to where Eigner is and have a gander down. Let's take a look, see what's down here.
All right, you take a look to see what was in the mysterious hatch. And just like J.J. Abrams' cliffhanger, we're going to head on over to see what Josh is up to.
Probably after the break.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
to
good
recap
time.
before the break, before we go on break, you have cast greater invisibility on yourself and have just set out to explore into the camp as stealthily as humanly possible with your natural 12, or your full 12.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
that's where we will break. We'll come back shortly.
Yeah. Alright. Thanks for
Cool.
joining us on this Tuesday afternoon or evening in Drew's case. Yeah, come back in about 10:15 and we'll continue this crazy old story and see what's going on. We'll be right back.